Hello, everyone, and welcome to another installment of me recapping plots based off my memory, because I watched a lot of TV as a kid, meaning a lot of it is stored up here. Today we are talking about the Disney show from Canada, which is The Lodge. Since it is set in Canada, they are all British, meaning it makes for a lot of funny line deliveries from the fact that they all have accents. And it also means that it stars two very interesting people, which is Colin Bridgerton from Bridgerton, obviously, and then Harry Hook from Descendants, but just before they were those people, which, like, it's crazy that they're there, and especially since Colin Bridgerton has a bowl cut the entirety of season 1. What's interesting about the show is that season 1 is based off a memory from like a very long time ago, but season 2 is more recent because I had to rewatch it only for the fact that I didn't finish it when I was a kid. Because one thing about Disney Channel in the US is that they love to block the show. I'm convinced I didn't see half of season 2 just because they didn't want to play it because it was a Canadian show. This show includes probably like the messiest love triangle I've ever seen in my life, only for the fact that she cannot decide who she wants to be with. Without further ado, let's get into season 1. In season 1, episode 1, The New Girl, we meet our main character, Sky, who moves from the big city to some rural place in the country. This is because she's moving into like a bed and breakfast type place, which is called The Lodge, which was owned by her grandpa. Her grandpa is still alive in the season, at least from what I remember, but he virtually disappears in the second one, so I don't know where he goes. Her and her dad are driving up to this lodge, and she is singing a song in the car, which is a really bad song, and it also happens to be the theme song. This is because this show is also a musical, because of course it is. And they will sing songs very randomly and unprompted, and I think they're in universe, but I also don't know. I think it's just like a High School Musical situation where they're singing, but they don't care that they're singing, I guess. A common theme in the first season is that they will sing the same like 3 songs over and over again. And obviously I don't remember which ones are in which episode, but just know that the theme song and like 2 other ones sang almost every episode. And as she's singing her song, the car breaks down. So her and her dad are sitting like on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere with no idea on how to fix their car. This is when none other than Harry Hook, aka his name is actually Sean in the show, comes up on his dirt bike and he offers to give Sky a ride up to the lodge because he knows where it is. And somehow her dad agrees to this, even though he does not know who this boy is. But Sky is immediately enamored with Sean, and she's like, that's the most beautiful boy I've ever seen in my life. When she gets to the lodge, she meets Sean's girlfriend, whose name is Danielle, and that immediately puts a damper in her plan. She's like, oh, he's taken. God damn it. Danielle is trying to get a reality TV show just because she wants to be famous. Literally Big Time Rush core. I'm pretty sure she's filming like a test for the reality show, like a day in her life or something, and the producers are really not liking her just because she's kind of stuck up and mean. When Sky makes it to the lodge, she figures out that the lodge is actually going out of business because they just don't have enough money. So she makes a mission to try and bring back the lodge and like bring it back up into business. And because of this, the reality TV show likes her and they want to follow the story of her bringing the lodge back. This creates an ongoing rivalry in between Sky and Danielle because she stole her reality TV spot, and she's also trying to steal her boyfriend. Sky's not doing that on purpose. I think Sean just likes her. Also, Sky wants to bring back the lodge because she wants to learn more about her mom's past because her mom grew up there and her mom is now dead. And she stays in like her mom's old room and everything, and so she has like all of her past items and stuff that are kept there. One of which is a ukulele that will come back later. It's not really important to the plot until like the last episode, but just keep that in mind. Now, some other characters that are really important to the general plot of the episode but are just there is the second half of the love triangle, aka Ben, who is very much just a guy who works at the lodge. He doesn't have much right now. Him and Sean are best friends, and they ride bikes together. And then kind of as a duo are Kaylee and Noah. They also both work at the lodge and they enjoy making music together because Kaylee is a really good singer and Noah likes making like beats and stuff and also rapping. Not well, but he does like doing it. A side character throughout the show is Sky's friend from the city, Josh, aka he's in the theme song, so that's enough. He's basically just on the phone most of the season because he lives in the city. In episode 2, Reality Check, Sky has the camera crew of the reality TV show following her around on like fixing up the lodge and stuff, and they're giving it like a makeover to make it more aesthetic. And this is when Sky and Ben kind of start flirting because she's kind of gives up on the Sean train since he has a girlfriend and his girlfriend is really mean, and so they kind of giving flirty vibes, but Ben is also kind of hesitant because he can tell that Sky likes Sean. So he's like, I don't know if I want to pursue that. And at this point, Danielle is trying to plot against Sky to get the show back. I don't know what she's doing. All I know is that she has some bad blood. And since the TV crew is at the lodge all the time, obviously the workers see them as well. A producer or something becomes completely obsessed with Noah. And this is a problem because Noah and Kaylee kind of have flirty vibes, as in Noah is obviously in love with her and she's just kind of like hesitant about that. But because the producer lady is now obsessed with him, Kaylee's kind of jealous, and also Noah is kind of freaked out, but also kind of reciprocating those feelings, which is kind of messy of him because he knows that he's in love with Kaylee. Basically, they're just afraid of ruining the friendship that they have because they've been friends for like ever, but they're just annoying, frankly, this season, and I wish they would just got together earlier because they piss me off with the will they won't they. I don't know any actual plot that happens in this episode, only for the fact that it's just things happen and the reality TV show is there. Also, I don't know if this plot point is brought up later in the season as like a big reveal, or if it's just like a thing that's known from the beginning, but I'll just tell you now for context. This is Sean's dad. He is very rich and a businessman in the area, and so he is the reason that the lodge is going under, because he wants like the land or whatever or something, and so he is like the driving force behind it kind of going under. In episode 3, opportunities, Sean and his dad are beefing from the fact that his dad is behind buying the lodge and making it go under, and because of this he has to go against his dad and like completely not talk to him even though they live in the same house. And Sky gives him a job at the lodge, so now him and Ben are working together because they're besties like that. This also causes major drama for the love triangle because Sky still likes Sean, but she also kind of likes Ben now, and Ben does like Sky, and Sean kind of does too, even though he has a girlfriend. Obviously, they're filming a reality TV show, meaning they have live feedback from people who are watching it, and there's a bunch of people on the internet who are shipping Sky and Ben, and so they're like, oh, maybe we can use this to our advantage, and they start fake dating. This is also because I think they want to bring attention away from Sky and Sean, because the reality TV show kind of caught that too, and they didn't want that to be drama, and so they start fake dating. But the thing is, it's kind of complicated because they do like each other, and this whole time Kaylee and Noah are having drama with the producer girl, and I don't care. Just know that they are having issues. In episode 4, double date, Ben's ex-girlfriend decides to come at the absolute worst time imaginable into the messy situation. She comes to just visit, but everyone knows that she actually came to get Ben back, because I think she was the one who broke up with him. I don't remember the reason. All I know is that I don't think he was in the wrong. And because of this, Ben is still like kind of in love with her and just expected to never see her again. And so this causes drama between him and Sky because they're technically fake dating, but they're basically real dating at this point. I think they sing a song to each other already, which is basically getting married in this universe. But then he does the cardinal sin of singing a song with his ex-girlfriend because they go on a little date, and Sky catches this and like crashes their date. And it's very awkward. This kind of causes some drama between Ben and Sky because it's kind of none of her business, the fact that he was going on a date with his ex-girlfriend, because they aren't technically together. But because of this, Sky and Sean start flirting again because Sean's kind of reciprocating it now, even though he still has a girlfriend. All of this for Ben's ex-girlfriend to leave because she can obviously see that Ben kind of has feelings for Sky, and so she's like, I'm just gonna let you figure that out. And so it was all for nothing, basically. And Ben and Sky are still sort of together. Episode 5, winning. Ben and Sean are both competing in a dirt bike race, which is like an annual thing, I think. And it's like a qualifier for a bigger championship that they're definitely not good enough for yet. But they do like jumps to the forest and stuff, which is kind of cool. And Ben is arguably better at like writing and stuff, but Sean really wants to impress his father because he can kind of do no right by his father from the fact that he went against his plan of buying a lodge and everything. And his dad just doesn't really like that he rides dirt bikes. He thinks he should be going into business like him, and so he is just very much against him doing anything else in general. But because of this, Sean is like really nervous during the race and ends up like crashing, and it's really embarrassing. And because of this, Ben wins. So good for him. And I'm pretty sure Sky is there to like cheer them on. And at this point, her and Ben are like officially dating, as in like they actually talked about it and are not like the weird like limbo of like fake dating or real dating. They are officially dating boyfriend and girlfriend. During this, Josh comes to visit the actual lodge, and so him and Sky are hanging out at the bike race and everything, and he's just there to help with the reality TV stuff. But for plot reasons, he is there to remind us that Sky is still kind of torn between Ben and Sean, you know, even though she has a boyfriend. And then after the race, Sean is really sad because, you know, he crashed and like didn't win. Sky is talking to him in a tent, and it's like behind a tent, so they're kind of hid away, and then Sean ends up kissing her. This is so messy because he knows that that's his best friend's girlfriend, and he has a girlfriend, and not only that, his girlfriend sees it happen. So I think at this point, Sean and Danielle were kind of at a point where they were like gonna break up, but I don't know if they officially broke up. All I know is that after this they do. Sean and Sky decide to keep this a secret because they're messy and don't want to have it blow up in their faces. And I'm pretty sure she does pull away and say like, hey, I'm dating your best friend. Let's stop that. In episode 6, best kept secrets, Danielle ends up telling Sean that she knows that they kissed, aka she saw it, and he's like, oh, maybe you should just keep that a secret because we really don't want people knowing. This is also because they have a reality TV show following them around, so why would they want that everywhere to bring bad press to the lodge? Even though that probably wouldn't bring bad press, it would bring people into the show because that is so teen drama. And Sky also gets mad at Sean for the fact that Danielle knows, I think only for or just because he kissed her, which is kind of messed up, and so they are kind of beefing at the moment. Eventually the secret gets out because I think a bunch of people find out from the fact that Danielle knows and she could have told someone, but Ben finds out, and then he delivers the best line of the show. You kissed my girlfriend. And after he yells at Sean that you kissed my girlfriend, he pushes him down a flight of stairs. Just stay away from me. Listen, it just happened. You're right. Sean! Are you okay? It's my ankle. I didn't know he had that violent tendency in him, but I guess it's here. This lands Sean in like a cast of some sort. Like I'm pretty sure that he breaks a bone or like sprains something from getting pushed down a flight of stairs. Sky was not very happy about the fact that he pushed his best friend down a flight of stairs, but she was also felt bad because, she gets someone else. And I think this leads to Sky and Ben kind of like breaking up because she did kind of cheat on him. Because technically Sean kissed her, but she kissed back, which is important. Episode 7 canceled. Ben ends up quitting his job at the lodge because he doesn't like the workplace drama, and also him and Sky broke up, and so it's really awkward because she's like his boss. And while all this relationship drama was happening, there's like a very background plot of these two random guys walking around the lodge and like snooping around and like filming stuff, I'm pretty sure. And they're like on the phone with this mysterious guy. That'll be a plot for later that I really don't care about. And Noah's plot as of recently is just following these guys around because he's so suspicious of them just walking around with no reason. And somewhere around the mid-range of the season, there's also a plot with Kaylee where she's putting on like a concert kind of thing in the lodge for like the fundraiser, bringing it back. They have a band come in and the lead singer is none other than Youngblood, and his name is Oz. And Kaylee's working with him a lot for like the show and everything, and she low-key falls in love with him because he's a cutie and also he can sing. I'm pretty sure he sings a version of one of the 3 songs that they cycle, and he sounds really good. And also, why is he here? This also means that Noah gets jealous because Kaylee isn't allowed to like anyone else, obviously, even though he does not tell her in any way that he likes her. That's why I can't deal with them, because they recycle the plot of Kaylee getting jealous of the girl that liked him, and then him getting jealous of Youngblood. Like, I just can't handle it. They're so boring. Also, I'm pretty sure at this point, Josh goes back to the city just because he's there in person only like a few days. In episode 8, Wishful Thinking, the whole group, including like Danielle, which no one really likes Danielle except for Sean, just because they have known each other for a long time, because she's like low-key mean to everyone. But they decided to all go camping together, including Youngblood as well, just because Kaylee likes him, and so he's part of the group now. And as they're camping, they're trying to talk out their feelings, aka they send the guys out to get firewood, and Sean and Ben end up having a duet where they're like yelling at each other in song, and it's like really good. I'm afraid this is like the best song of the entire show because it's like unironically the best thing ever, and they used to play it for Disney Channel commercials, and I ate it up every single time. The dancing that they're doing is crazy, and at one point Ben has like a hood on and he looks really silly. Yeah. And the thing about this dance number is that they're kind of serving like tension. Like, they're kind of in love. They don't carry this out anywhere else, but like I just kind of see it here. And obviously through the song they're fighting over Sky, and because of bad vibes, I think Danielle decides to like leave, or she just like leaves the group for a little bit because she's not the outdoorsy type, and so I don't know why she went camping in general, but I'm pretty sure she just like goes to her tent and then like wants to be all clean, which makes sense. I would do that too. Then they all do this thing where they like fold up pieces of paper and put them in like the river and like write like a wish on the paper, so then it goes off into the water. I don't really know why. A common thread of this show is that if they all sing a song as an ensemble, that means like the vibes are so good and no one is mad at each other, even though the tension in this group is going crazy. No one really likes each other, but they all sing a song together, and so they're all happy, and they all drop their wishes in the water and run away. And I think it's Noah who finds Kaylee's piece of paper and like opens it, which is such a breach of privacy. I don't know why he did that, but he keeps it. He picks it up, doesn't tell her, and then keeps it. And I think it either says that she wants to go to like music school, which is like in the city and stuff, and it's just to like further propel her music career, or it's the fact that she's in love with Noah. I really don't know what it is. It could be either. All I know is that he keeps it. Episode 9, The Truth. This is where the plot that I didn't want to explain comes in, so I will have to explain it now. Sky ends up finding the initials SJ in her mom's old stuff, and it's apparently some guy that her mom used to like date before she met her dad, or it's when she met her dad. Kind of a love triangle situation where Sky is right now. And this is because her mom was hiding something in the lodge. Moral of the story is that she finally meets up with the guy, and he's just like some random guy. But he reveals that there's a map to gold or something, and they're like underneath the lodge. And this would be very helpful because the lodge is going under, meaning they need money. And gold would be very helpful. And although he like knows where the map is or something, he does not know where the gold is, or he just doesn't tell because he's messy like that. And I think these two guys are either working for him or they're working for Sean's dad. I really don't remember, but I think they're working for the guy because they're looking for the gold as well. And while all that is happening, Kaylee finds her note in like Noah's locker, and so she's like, oh, why do you have this? And then I'm pretty sure that they say what it is in this episode. Do I remember? No, it's either musical or that she's in love with Noah. I have a feeling it's not that she's in love with Noah because they don't get together in this episode. At the same time, they're kind of a mess, and so even though they know that they like each other, in later episodes they still don't go together, so it could be. In episode 10, The Choice, the lodge is finally at its wit's end, aka they're like really don't have money at all, and so they're doing a charity concert in an attempt to raise enough money to save it. And I think this is because Shanzad is pulling out all stops, and he's like trying to get them in further debt than they're already in. And at this charity concert, they're supposed to have the headliner of Youngblood and his band, but he decides to leave because I think they either get a gig or the fact that Kaylee doesn't like him. And Kaylee is a very good singer and she has like some songs lined up. And so she's gonna perform, but she also has really bad stage fright and really doesn't want to. With the music school plotline that might be on the note, she's trying to leave her music school today because she got accepted. They have to put together a performance like really quickly so she can leave on time. And they're doing this performance with the help of Danielle's mom because she turns around and she's like wants to help save the lodge as well. Okay, she wants to become a nice person now. And this is the only way that they can fight against Sean's dad because he's trying to like fine them for using the land and stuff, whole bunch of stuff to just basically stop them from raising money. They end up all doing a performance together instead of Kaylee just performing by herself, and they do like one of the 3 songs that they sing throughout the season, and everyone loves it. And at this point, the love triangle is a nuisance to everyone's life. And so Ben gives Sky the ultimatum to just choose one of them, and that'll be it. Like, no more of the back and forth business. And this is like while she's trying to put together a charity concert to literally save the place that she's running. So I don't know why he put the stress on her right now. In his defense, they both did it. So it's just a man's fault. And the concert ends up doing enough where they don't get shut down because Danielle's mom helps waive the fee of using the land and everything. And so they still have the lodge, which is great. And then Sky ends up sending a text later that says, "I choose you," but we don't know who she sent it to. And at this point, Noah and Kaylee finally get together right before she's going to leave for music school because they're just stupid. And they're going to be long distance because she has to move to the city. And Danielle is sitting by herself out on like a bench in front of the lodge, and she is holding Sky's mom's ukulele, and it ends up getting broken from getting dropped or something. And she looks inside of it and finds a treasure map, which is the map to the gold. Also, the plot thread before of like the mystery guy kind of led nowhere, only for the fact that I think Sky couldn't find the map, and then she ended up doing the charity concert instead. And Danielle decides to keep the map a secret just because she kind of wants the gold for herself, and also she is not on the best terms with Sky, so why would she tell her? So that is a very messy recollection of season 1 because I watched it a long, long time ago and really don't remember the specific plot because this show isn't really made for plot. It's just things happen because they do. Now entering season 2, this one's definitely way longer because I watched it more recently and then waited like a month and then scripted what I remembered. This season also had a bit more structure to it, I would say, for the fact that I could actually understand what was going on. In episode 1, I Choose You, we pick up the charity concert day, and so like right after they save the lodge. Even though a lot of people look older, they just kind of brushed that under the rug like it never happened. For one, Keely's hair was braided every single episode, I think, last season. Now it's straightened. And Ben no longer has a bowl cut anymore. His hair is fully shorter in a different style, and they just don't mention it. I would say Sean looks older, but his physical changes isn't that much. And then Danielle is eating down, I'm afraid, more than last season. Like, every time I looked at the screen, I was like literally gagged by her face card. Kaylee is still leaving for music school, as in she's in the car leaving, but then they call her back because they're like, "We want to have a dance number at the lodge." And she's like, "Okay, I'm on my way." The show is so stupid. She just leaves the car and comes back to the lodge to sing a song and dance, and then leaves again to go to music school. Also, with Ben's hair change, I'm afraid he's actually like, he's the ideal man in the season. Every time I looked at him, I wanted the best for him. And sadly, he gets royally screwed over this season. And it turns out the "I Choose You" text was sent to Sean, which is objectively the wrong answer, and everyone knew it. I think this is because they took criticism from the first season of the show and then chose Sean only from the fact that people really like his actor. The fans probably really liked him. I mean, I think when I was watching the show, I was probably team Sean, for crying out loud. I did love this man. But Ben is the right option. Like, he was arguably a better boyfriend to her, and then also he didn't like cheat with his girlfriend in order to like get with her. And because of this, Ben is trying to be a good sport because he was obviously one of the people who were telling her to just make a choice and then it wouldn't matter anyway. And so he doesn't want to like cause any bad blood. And so he's just trying not to mention it in general. It's kind of causing a rift between him and Sean though, because Sky wants to train with Sean in order to do the next bike race, which is like the Enduro or something. And that's kind of him and Ben's thing. And so she's kind of at training sessions now, and Ben just kind of wants to like stay away from her. And this is because Sky's kind of busy all the time managing the laws, and so she doesn't have like time to go on dates with Sean a lot. And so that's their bonding activity, is riding bikes together. Her dad is there this season. Like, he's a very key player because he's helping her run the lodge, and he is the one who gets the news that they're actually going under again because Sean's dad decided to actually fine them for using the concert space just because he's an evil man. And now they have the ultimatum that if they don't pay the money in like a certain amount of time, then Sean's dad will like own the lodge. And obviously the last season of the reality TV show already ended because they like ended with saving the lodge. Yay, happy ending. But they decided to bring it back only for the fact that they need money desperately. And this will also bring in new customers, they hope, because they need more guests in order to get more business. I somehow forgot to add an entire character onto here, but she won't come until later, so just know that she's there now. In episode 2, Partners. Noah is really struggling without Kaylee at the lodge because he could only make music with her, aka he can't really sing, and so he can only make the beats without her singing voice. He ends up FaceTiming her after like her first class in music school, and she decently likes it, only for the fact that she's very very nervous about singing in front of people and performing her songs. She's struggling with like making a certain part of her song, and so her and Noah do it over the phone, much to the detriment of my ears, because every time I hear Noah rap, I want to rip my hair out.
Yo, we got something deeper than they'd understand. You and me, God, it's crazy how you got my back. It's like you in my head, finishing my sentences. You're the only one who knows exactly who I am.
And while Kaylee is singing her song, a girl named Frankie overhears her and then like compliments her songwriting and everything. And so they become friends. And because of this, Kaylee tells Noah that she met someone named Frankie and that they're hanging out a lot. And then Noah thinks it's a guy just because her name is Frankie. So he gets really jealous and also just sad from the fact that he thinks Kaylee's moving on. I don't know exactly what happens in the lodge plot of this episode. It's probably something along the lines of Sean gets mad because Sky doesn't have time for dates, even though she literally said that because she has to manage a whole business. And where Ben fits into this dynamic, I think he's just talking to Danielle because they are the odd ones out and they're the only people who can talk to each other. I think at this point, Josh comes back to stay at the lodge for like a long time because he is going to work with the reality TV thing because he's the one running it instead of actual producers like last season. And he is running it with these two guys that were sneaky around the lodge because they're the camera people. I don't know if they could run cameras before, if that was their job. All I know is that they're doing it now and they're just the comedic relief characters. They don't really have a driving plot except for when another character is introduced. In episode 3, Help, since Danielle and Ben are kind of the only ones talking, Danielle ends up telling him about the treasure map that she found, and he immediately tells her to tell Sky because that's her business and it was her mom's ukulele. But Danielle says that they should keep it to themselves and then find it for Sky. And he somehow agrees to this. And they end up investigating a certain cave, which is like on the map or something. It's a pretty steep drop into the cave, so they end up getting stuck. And the only phone they have is Danielle's, and she's almost out of battery, and there's like no service down there. And during the fall, Ben injures his arm, so he's unable to climb back up and get them help. Danielle ends up being able to climb up far enough in the cave in order to get one call out to Sean, and she sends him a voicemail that's just like along the lines of like, help, we're stuck in a cave. And as they're waiting for possible help to come, they end up finding a chest inside the cave that is from the treasure map. And Sean gets this call when him and Sky are out for like a bike ride or something for training, and they both go to save them because they're like, why are Ben and Danielle together, for one, and also why are they stuck in a cave? And they question them when they finally get to the cave and get them out. Ben and Danielle come up with the cover story that they were just exploring because Danielle is so much the outdoorsy type, of course. And this is when we're introduced to a new character as well, because while that business is happening, the lodge is trying to hire someone to replace Kaylee's, and so they end up hiring a girl named Alex. Alex brings in the plot of one of these two guys. I actually don't remember either of their names, but he has a huge crush on Alex, and like it's obsessive level and it's creepy. And one thing about Alex is that she's like way too Snoopy, as in she watched the first season of the reality TV show and like wants to dirt on everyone, and it's really concerning. Like, why does she have beef with everyone? And she overhears Sky and her dad talking about how the lodge is going to like close down again, which the reality TV show doesn't know about, and like really only a few people know about, like Sean, of course, because his dad is one doing it, and I think Ben knows. But then she ends up revealing it to the entirety of the reality TV show because she's stupid, and I think she did it on purpose. In episode 4, Call Me, literally by Blondie, Ben feels really bad about lying to Sky since they actually found a clue with the treasure map, and so he just steals all of the stuff that they found and gives it to Sky behind Danielle's back, and so Danielle gets really mad. And this is because inside the chest in the cave, there's like a note that has a phone number and it just says call me on it. That's all they found inside the chest, and so he just immediately brings it to Sky, and Danielle gets mad and throws the chest away. And Sky is very appreciative of this because she's like, oh yeah, if it's gold, then I can get enough money to save the lodge and everything will be great. She doesn't even care that like Danielle and Ben kept it from her because she kind of understood the logic of like, oh, if they were just getting it for me. I think she's just happy to have a concept of money. And in the music school plot, Frankie ends up getting in touch with the producer because she thinks Kaylee's songs are really good, and so she's going to help her get in touch to get it recorded and everything. But she also wants to be in on it, aka she wants to sing them together. This is because Frankie cannot write songs for shit, and so she needs Kaylee's writing in order to get her anywhere. And then when they get to the recording and everything, they're both really excited, but then they end up changing the song to be more like pop style, when Kaylee wrote it as kind of like more like a ballad and like acoustic. And so she doesn't want it to be that way, but then the producer's just like, no, we're going to do it this way anyway. And so Kaylee really doesn't want to go through with the record deal just because they are changing her song, and Frankie's all for it just because she wants to have like a hit song. They only put Frankie's vocals into it, meaning Kaylee's not singing in her own song at all. And so she's like, yeah, what the hell? Like, this is literally my song and you are taking me out of it. But then the producer just plays it off as, since she has stage fright, she won't be able to perform it live, so why would they have her vocals in it? But it's still like her song. They just think that Frankie's a better singer, and so they just want her to be the front face of it. My little boy came to visit me. I think he could tell that I was going insane. Louis, we haven't even gotten to the craziness of this season. You don't even know. Because Kaylee doesn't really know what to do with the whole record deal business, she decides to go visit the lodge to clear her head and like figure out a decision. And also just to talk to Noah about it. In episode 5, Mystery Guest. Sky chooses to not tell Sean about the treasure, even though he's literally her boyfriend and like wants to know things going on in her life. It also just is really suspicious now because she has a secret with Ben that she's not telling Sean, and he can obviously tell something's up, and he thinks like worse options than it being just some gold treasure map. And she's also spending more time with Ben than Sean, and so Sean is very confused because she's distracted during their like training and stuff, and just in general not really present in their relationship. And she is leaving for training one day and like literally cannot skip it because she is distracted all the time. She sends Ben to look into a lead that they have for the treasure, and it's like a ringing phone from one of the guest rooms in the lodge. Ben is originally going to do this by himself, but then Noah tags along, and they have to like hide inside this room because the guy who's actually staying in there walks in, and so they're like hiding under the bed and they get found out. But the ringing phone turns out to be a fluke because it's actually not coming from in there. And the guy who's staying in there turns out to just be a health inspector who's looking into the attic because there's like endangered bats in there or something. And then Kaylee talks to Noah about the whole record deal business, and he convinces her to not take the record deal. In episode 6, Last Dance, they decide to have a dancing live stream as a last-ditch effort to raise money for the lodge. That's because they are kind of reaching their like deadline on the money that they need, and so they have like a certain goal, and if they reach it during the live stream, then they're like set. And if they don't, then they lose the lodge. It's very early in the season to be having these kind of stakes, but whatever. And for the dancing, it's basically like a dance off kind of thing, and they do coupling of the whole main cast. Technically, they do them drawing out of a hat for coupling, but Sky kind of fudges it just because she gets Ben and doesn't want Ben from the fact that she's having troubles in her own relationship, and so she switches with Danielle in order to get Sean. So it's Sky and Sean, Ben and Danielle, Alex and one of these guys who likes her, and then Noah and Kaylee. I think there's also a couple of Josh and Sky's dad, only for the fact that Josh is canonically gay. And this whole like dance competition ends up being just a competition between Danielle and Ben, and then Sky and Sean. This is also from the fact that Danielle actually likes Ben, which has been hinted at a little bit throughout the first few episodes of the season. And she's really mad about the fact that he still hung up on Sky, even though like they were literally only dating like not even a week ago. The timeline of the show is crazy. This seems like a huge time skip only from the fact that they look older, but like this was happening like a month ago. And so Danielle is just really mad about the fact that Ben hasn't moved on because she likes him and thinks that he deserves better than Sky, which I agree with. And they end up doing a group number at the end after like their individual dance competitions. And I remember it being bad only from the fact that the song they sang was bad and the choreography was not giving. There's a lot of songs in this season, and I don't remember any of them being like necessarily good. I think there's one that Danielle sings like all by herself as like a little like self-discovery moment, which I kind of remember being okay. But I think Ben also re-sings it later when he's like looking at a dock, and it's very aesthetic, and I liked it when he did it too. So maybe I think that song was just good. I don't really remember any of the other ones, only from the fact that there's so many in the season and a lot of them just kind of sound the same. And for the dance competition, Kaylee and Noah end up winning because they're actually the only healthy couple here, so that makes sense. And backstage of this dance competition, because they're on like a break before they have like the final ditch effort to get enough money, and Sky ends up calling the number that was on like the call me card again because she was trying to like call over and over again and it didn't work. But then they texted back that said like, oh, I'm no one. So we still don't know who it is. It's a mystery person. She calls again, and then Alex's phone rings. So now she's an element in this mystery. And it turns out it's actually her grandpa's phone. So it's not hers. It's like an old-timey walkie-talkie looking phone. And this is because the treasure was actually set up by her grandpa. And Alex gives us all this information. And she's like, yeah, that's why I'm at the lodge. Like, I wanted to look for the treasure that my grandpa left. And this means that she joins the whole treasure hunt business. And so now the plan is that Sky, Danielle, and Alex will do thirds of the treasure. I don't know why Danielle decided to join this. I think it's just because she wants to get back in people's good graces from the stuff that she did last season, which honestly was her getting cheated on. She was kind of evil last season in the like a mean girl way. Nothing serious. I don't think she like tried to kill anyone's family or anything. That's how they tend to act. They literally shun her like she is a murderer. And they go back out there. Kaylee and Noah do like a last dance, and then they end up being barely short of getting enough money, so they don't raise enough money for the lodge. And so they have to fully pack up and move, and now Sean's dad owns it, which is a crazy way to end the 6th episode of the season. In episode 7, All Huff and All Puff, Sean's dad plans to completely bulldoze the lodge because he wants to build like a spa over the land. And because of this, Sky refuses to leave the building and just locks herself in her bedroom. And she manages to get in there only for the fact that she says like, oh, I need to grab something from my room like last minute, because her and her dad moved into like a camper van out in some field. I don't even know where they are relative to the lodge, but she's like, oh yeah, I need to get something out of my room, and then she just locks herself in there. And eventually the whole entire like friend group locks themselves in there with her in solidarity, but they're eventually forced out from the fact that the police shows up. And then as the bulldozers are about to hit the building, the health inspector from a few episodes ago comes and says that there's endangered bats in the attic, so they can't break down the building. And so the lodge is technically saved, as in the building. And during this moment, Sky's having like a major crush out because like she thinks that the building's gonna get destroyed. And then Sean is like comforting her. This action will be like the last good thing he ever does for his girlfriend, I swear to God. In episode 8, No Hard Feelings, Sean is having a lot of issues with his family because his mom and his dad both want him to just like be on the bandwagon of family business because his dad lost out on a big business idea of destroying the lodge, and so now he just has to run the lodge because he needs to make his money back. Also, I think Sean wants to like keep the lodge kind of intact and like running just for Sky's sake, just because it was used to be her business. At the same time, she's just not happy with him because he's helping his dad run the business that he stole. And basically what Sean's doing right now is cleaning up the outside of the lodge because it got really like destroyed during the whole construction business of it all. Both Ben and Noah happen to be there, and so they all go and venture out into the woods to have fun. And they're like playing on like a rope tied over a river or something like that. And they sing a song together, which is so fun. And while this is happening, Kaylee gets Sky's dad's help in working on her stage fright because a final project for music school is that she has to like perform in front of her whole class, and so she wants to get over her stage fright in order to do that. And while she's working on that, she finds out via her phone that Frankie actually released her song with like the pop vocals and everything without her approval because she didn't accept the record deal. So they basically stole her song. And then Sky is kind of bummed out from the fact that she doesn't have Lodge anymore, and so Danielle and Alex just want to distract her in the whole treasure hunt thing, and so they are looking through the clues of all the things they found and Alex's grandpa's stuff, and they find a hint towards an island named Solace. In episode 9, under new management, Sean's dad is officially like reopening the lodge as a event center, more than just like a hotel, and he's making it like very modern business oriented, not necessarily like the homey vibe that it used to have. But he wants to make it a family business, aka Sean is forced to work there. He's not very happy about it.
Your fairy godmother's not happy about it.
And Ben, Noah, and Alex are also still working there just from the fact they had jobs at the lodge before, and they have like new uniforms and everything that are like ties and like dress shirts, which it used to just be like polos. So it's a very different vibe. And there's a little rift going on between Sky and Sean because of that whole business, but also because she's working on the treasure hunting stuff and he is working all the time, meaning they never really get to spend time together. And they also haven't been training for the Enduro, which is coming up, so they kind of need to be doing that. Sean's dad ends up hiring Sky's dad back at the lodge because he's working as like manager, and Sky's dad takes the job just because they need money in order to like live there. Sky's mad at him for working for the enemy. And in a very side plot, Noah ends up taking Kaylee's phone and then like answering a call from Frankie and like goes off on her about stealing Kaylee's song. But the thing is, Kaylee didn't want to talk to Frankie at all just because she wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt and say that like she didn't have ill intentions of stealing the song. And also just I think that she doesn't want to get into the whole drama of it. But then Noah just calls and says like, oh yeah, like you really hurt her feelings, which is so silly, but whatever. And also just completely against Kaylee's privacy from the fact that it was her phone. In episode 10, The Storm, they find out where Solace Island is. It's like off the coast, and so they just have to take like a boat ride there. And so Sky, Danielle, and Alex plan to go. Sky also decides to invite Sean along because at this point he now knows about the treasure and everything. And because she wants to mend the relationship a little bit, she invites him along, but he's working so much that he actually can't make it. And so he sends Ben in his place, which is very messy from the fact that they used to date, but whatever. And then they're looking around for like a certain rock that was in like a drawing or something, and they find it, but they can't find any other clues on the island. They are supposed to get picked up by the same boat in order to be taken back to the mainland, but they miss the boat because of a crazy storm. And because it's like raining and thunder, lightning, and everything, they have to find shelter. And so they end up going to this cabin that's just like in the middle of nowhere. And then while they're all stuck in this cabin, Sky and Ben end up having like a heart-to-heart about their relationship and like everything that went down and like I guess her relationship with Sean. But it gets cut short because none other than Sean shows up. And then he completely kills the vibe. And he says that he came along just because he wanted to be more involved in Sky's life and the whole treasure hunting business. And so he went during the storm to go find them. And this creates just like tension that Sean didn't mean to send, just because Ben was like finally opening up about the fact that he still kind of likes Sky. But then he just decides to go chop firewood to get away from that environment. And Danielle follows him to go talk to him about the whole Sky business. And she tells him again that he should just stop liking her. And he's like, it's not that simple. And she specifically says that she's mad about him liking Sky because she thought that they had something, which they do kind of give flirty vibes. But like she knew from the beginning that he still liked Sky. So she really shouldn't be delusional enough to think that he is just completely over her. But when they're having this conversation, they almost kiss. And then they are interrupted again by Sean because he comes in and he's like, oh, I'm just grabbing firewood. And he's like so happy. I literally hate him because this means that these two are awkward about it now and don't want to talk about it. If you couldn't tell, I low-key really like these two together, and I wish they would have gotten together sooner because I wanted to see them actually together. If they got together in this episode, I would have been way more happy. But of course, this aggravating man comes in and ruins everything. And then they have to make food with the canned food that's in the cabin, which I cannot imagine how old that is. They scratch together a meal and they all sing a song about being happy, which is the way to show that they have no bad blood, of course. And even Alex is a part of this, even though everyone's kind of beefing with her for like no apparent reason other than the fact that she's kind of abrasive to everyone. Obviously, they went like during the day, but it's now nighttime, and so they have to spend the night there because the storm's still going on. It's like a one-room cabin. I'm convinced there's like not a bedroom, so they all just end up sleeping in like the main room wherever there's room. So I think like two people take the couches that are in the living room, and then Ben literally sleeps sitting down on the like kitchen table. I cannot imagine how uncomfortable that was. And Sky ends up waking up earlier than everyone, and so she goes back out to the rock place to look for a clue that they might have missed, and then Sean follows her. And because Sean is not quiet and apparently not looking out for anyone's sleep, he like slams the door when he leaves. And so this wakes up Ben, and he looks over at Danielle, who's sleeping in like a chair, and he's just like watching her and then like thinking about the fact that they kissed. Then he just like lays his head back down and goes back to sleep. But then right after this, Danielle wakes up and looks at him. Anyway, when they all wake up, they end up leaving the island with just a picture of a bunch of like randomly strewn rocks around the clue rock. And then Alex also takes a book of constellations from the cabin just because her grandpa really liked constellations. She was like, oh, this reminds me of him. So she took it. In episode 11, Taking Sides, Sean's dad calls Sky into the lodge, like into a meeting. And it says that the reality show for the lodge got an award at whatever award show would supply that, I guess. But they want her to accept it because she was the face of the reality TV show. He's being really weird about it because he wants like good publicity. And so he wants her to pretend to be working at his version of the lodge in order for them to get like more business. And this is an actual hireable position too. Like it's not just like for the cameras. He wants her to be manager just because she did it really well. And he's kind of struggling with running the place. Sean really wants her to take this deal because that would put his girlfriend and his dad in good graces. But she is very much against this because she doesn't agree with the way that he's running it. It doesn't hold like the same family values, I guess, that hers did. And she just wants her family lodge. But Sean is being selfish in the fact that he just wants his life to be going well and doesn't really care about his girlfriend's feelings. But she does agree to pretend to work there for accepting the award, and that's it. And at this point, Ben is decided to just pretend nothing happened between him and Danielle, which makes her mad because they actually had a moment. Right when Sky is about to accept the award, they're doing like a live stream for the award show. Sean's dad is giving a whole speech about nice things about the lodge and like how he's running it so much better. And then Sky just gets angry. And so she's like, you know what? Actually, I'm not going to pretend to be nice to this man anymore. And so when she's accepting the award, she just goes off on him about how she's going to get the lodge back and like how he doesn't deserve it and how she would like never work for him because he's an evil, evil man. Then she starts singing a song and the whole staff leaves with her. So like all of her friends, except for Sean, obviously, because it's his family business. I'm sure this will bode so well for her relationship with Sean. In episode 12, Hard to Say No, lo and behold, her decision does not bode well for her and Sean's relationship. AKA, he's so mad at her for making all of his friends quit the job, which that was their decision. She didn't tell them to quit. She just said, yeah, I'm never working for this evil, evil man. And then they decided to follow her. Because of this, their relationship is not very good. And this is a problem because they're going into the Enduro qualifiers that day. And the thing with the Enduro is that it's a duos race, meaning both of you have to place well in order for you to qualify for the actual Enduro. And they're competing against a reigning champion team which has Dove Cameron and some random guy. I forgot what Dove Cameron's name is in the show, but she's just Dove Cameron. And for a little bit of context, her and Thomas Doherty, who plays Sean, were dating at the time. Hence why I think she was even in the show to begin with. I'm sure the fact that they're dating will bode so well for him and Sky's relationship. They end up talking through their problems in their relationship before the actual race. And he just explains that he feels like abandoned because all of his friends left him with his crazy dad. And she's like, hey, I didn't tell them to leave. I didn't want to be there, but they chose to quit. And they end up just talking it out because it wasn't really her fault. Then they're on good terms again because they sing a song together, of course. And then they go do the race and they end up getting second place below Dove Cameron and her partner. And at this point, Ben and Danielle are still not talking, only for the fact that he does not want to talk about them even being together. And I don't know how long Kaylee was taking off of music school because she's still freaking here. Noah ends up signing her up for the Enduro concert because there's like a whole performance and he wants her to get over her stage fright. And so he's giving her practice basically. In episode 13, Distant Relations Relation, Danielle and Alex are still on the treasure hunting grind while Sky is still kind of training for the actual Enduro. And they find another clue in the inscription that's like on the box, like the chest that Danielle threw away, but that she got it out of her trash and everything. Because it's like on every single hint of the treasure hunt, there's like a certain symbol. And there turns out to be like a riddle or something connected to it. And somehow they figure out that this riddle is connected to the lodge somehow. This is important because it was set up by Alex's grandfather, who would have no connection to the lodge unless he was connected to Sky's family. They figure this out through Alex's constellation book. There's a picture of a young Sky and then a young Alex together, like playing as kids. And this is weird because they've never met before this. Like they have no recollection of even seeing each other. And Sky shows her dad the picture and like asks about the connection. And it turns out that their grandfathers were brothers and they owned the lodge together. And this means that Sky and Alex are distant cousins. This is kind of crazy to be doing as a reveal at the end of the freaking show, but whatever. And this makes Danielle really scared because she was kind of already on the outs of the group before. And so she was scared about them not sharing the treasure money with her anyway. But now that the fact that the other two parts of the team are related, she's like, oh, they're not going to share that with me at all. And also she wants to actually be close to them and like have a friendship, but she's scared that they're just going to block her out because they're related. And Sean finally grows a backbone and sends it to his dad about the fact that he can't be working all the time because he wants to support his girlfriend and actually train for the Enduro finals with her. His dad supports this only for the fact that he's kind of tried everything to not have them be together. He's just tired at this point. Episode 14, finish line. The Enduro finals are finally happening. Sky and Sean are going into it pretty confident since they got second in the qualifiers, and they think that their only competition is going to be Def Cameron and her partner. And Sky is really in it for like fun because it's her first Enduro, and I'm pretty sure Sean has been in one before, but he really wants to win. And this is a problem because obviously it's Sky's first Enduro and she doesn't really competitively ride bikes at all. And so she's kind of scared of like the bigger jumps just because they're like off of ramps and everything. And so they're slightly behind just because she is nervous about doing those jumps. When she gets nervous, like this is being filmed and everything, instead of, helping his girlfriend, Sean just goes past and then has the nerve to be angry that she is like nervous about it. Personally, if that was my boyfriend, I would be so mad if he got annoyed and then like just completely left her in the dust. He has every right to want to win this competition because he wants to do competitive biking. That's what he wants to do. But he shouldn't have then partnered up with his girlfriend who hasn't biked before. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out. But what gives them an advantage is that Def Cameron's partner gets injured and so he's unable to ride and she needs a fill-in partner. And this is because there's multiple rounds for the race. I think there's like 3 different tracks or something like that. And because of the first race doing really well for Sean, at least, Dev's manager goes up to him and offers him the new partner spot. And Sky overhears this because she's like walking up to Sean and she gets really sad because Sean immediately accepts the offer without even thinking twice about it. Basically means that he is abandoning his girlfriend and like completely dropping the partnership in order to win. And she understands to a certain degree of like him wanting to do well, but he did not even ask her about like breaking up the partnership or whatever. He just immediately accepted, which is crazy. And then when they talk about it, he has the nerve to say, "Oh yeah, it's a really good opportunity and you just thought it was for fun anyway, Like, did you have fun?" And she's like, "Yeah, I guess." And she's just like so shocked that he would do this, and to the point where she's like, "Yeah, I'm done. I'm just gonna go work on the treasure hunt stuff." And then while that drama is going on, Ben finally decides to talk to Danielle about them being together, and she's really happy about this. This is because he finally has an epiphany that he should be over Sky because she's just not gonna give him another chance. And the thing is, they talk for like a little bit, but they have to go watch the Enduro, and so he's like, "Oh, just meet me in an hour for like the next break in the race." And she's like, "Okay." The problem with this is that this is right when Sky decides to worry about the treasure hunting, and so her and Alex go to investigate some painting that the riddle leads to or something, and Danielle has to tag along unless she like is scared that she won't be accepted by that group. And so she's like, "Crap, I have to meet Ben, but I have to be here," just because she doesn't want to tell them about her meeting Ben as well because it's kind of awkward judging the fact that they used to date. Anyway, they sneak up into the attic of the lodge and then they steal the painting that's in there because it was just old decor that used to be on the wall, but then Sean's dad took it down because it didn't match his aesthetic, and so it's just up in the attic. And they end up stealing it and then just sneaking out of the lodge without him realizing. But through all this plotting, Danielle ends up missing her talk with Ben, and so she finally gets to the spot and he's not there anymore, and so she's really sad. And we also see Ben's POV of this because he was like waiting there, and then he's so sad because she didn't show up, and I don't like seeing him sad, especially because he looks really good this season. So now Danielle's just mad because she missed her chance, and they also don't even know what the painting means, so it might have been all for nothing. And because Danielle didn't show up, Ben goes to talk to Sean because he's like the only one there. He's asking about the fact that he literally left his girlfriend and then just joined a new random team, and Sean's like, "No, it's chill." And Ben's like, "No, that's actually really messed up. Like, why would you do that?" Ben is just so like flabbergasted by the fact that Sean would do that, and so he just like walks away. He's like, "Yeah, I can't talk to you." Def Cameron and Sean talk a little bit. She's basically telling him that he doesn't even feel bad about leaving his girlfriend just because he's going to win this way, and so it's better for him. And I don't disagree with the messaging that he should make the decision for his own future, but he shouldn't have just accepted it without even talking to his girlfriend first. She would have understood, and she probably would have said yes. But he just accepted it without even thinking. And also, she ends up singing a song, which they also played during Disney Channel commercials. And I was like, "Oh my God, Def Cameron is in that show." That's crazy. You can tell they were like, "Oh yeah, we have Def Cameron for a musical number. We need to go full out." It's a full music video, which they don't do in this show. It's very against the formula. It feels very weird. It takes you out of it because you're like, why are they having like full costume changes right now? And obviously, him singing a song with another woman is a big no-no. It's a cardinal sin in this world. I'm sure this will bode well for him and Sky's relationship. Sky and Alex finally get back to like watch the rest of the race, but ends up talking to Sky about the whole Sean situation, and she admits that it does kind of bother her, but she was just like didn't really care enough to want to explain it to him. And it's just because she trained a lot for the race and wanted to see the results of her work basically. And he's like, "Yeah, I thought that's how you would feel," but he apparently just does not care. And then Danielle sees this conversation happening, and so she's like, "Oh yeah, he definitely is going back to Sky. Like, I have no chance now," which like is kind of hoops to jump through. At the same time, he is hung up on that girl so bad. And Ben decides to join the race for Sky so then they can go as a duo so she can still race, which is very sweet. And originally he wasn't in the race because of his injured arm from the whole cave incident, but it's like healed now. And in order to join the race this late, they have to do a qualifying round, so they just do like a quick race that puts them in the standing that they can still race. And Sean is for some reason reason like very mad about this, even though he literally ditched Sky. He can't really complain about Ben partnering up with her, but just because she wanted to race, like it's not that big of a deal. And also, I don't think he's like threatened at all by their ability, just because Dev Cameron's really good and so is he. So I think it's like a shoe in that they were going to win. And lo and behold, they do win the race, and Ben and Sky end up getting third, which is really good, especially for like a first enduro. And so they're all happy and like celebrating. And after this, Sky decides to break up with Sean because of this experience, and she decides that she actually likes Ben again. See, this is why I said this is the messiest love triangle ever, because she just cannot make up her mind. One of them does one nice thing for her, and then she's like, that's actually the man that I want to be with. I completely support her breaking up with Sean, just from the fact that throughout the season he made very selfish decisions regarding just his own life quality and did not really care about her feelings. And Sean is a little mad about this, only from the fact that he thinks it's about Ben, and it is, but she's like, it's also more about us. He honestly should have seen this coming, from the fact that when she chose him through the text, everyone, even like the internet, was like, I thought she was going to choose Ben because he was the objectively right answer. And so he literally said that. He said, yeah, I thought you were going to choose Ben. He should have known that she was going to break up with him because of that. And then a completely separate plot that has no overlap with this. Noah and Kaylee are still getting ready for the concert for the Enduro, but then they find out that Frankie is headlining with her one song because they only have one, because Kaylee only made one for her. I don't see how she's having a headlining act with one song, but that is neither here nor there. She has become like an internet sensation because everyone loves the song. So she's headlining for the Enduro concert, which means that they're going to cross paths, which is drama. And because of this, she's like at the Enduro. And so Kaylee finally gets to talk to her in person, and they touch bases about the fact that Noah called from her phone, and she's like, that's really messed up. Frankie actually feels bad about like stealing her song and everything like that, just because it was like she was caught up in the whole record deal business. And she's like, yeah, I'll tell everyone the truth of the concert, that it's actually your song. And so they're all waiting for like her show to start, because she's going to say it at the beginning. And then she ends up not saying it and starting to sing her song. And so they're like, oh, that bitch. And so they go and sabotage her mic for it to like cut out and everything. This is so that she'll like stop speaking and then go to fix her mic, and then they talk again, and Frankie's like, yes, actually I do think that I want to tell the truth, which is crazy. But then they invite Kaylee out to the stage, and so she sings her song herself, which cures her stage fright, I guess. Also, there's a plot, since she was signed up for the Enduro concert, she got like a slightly smaller stage than the big headlining stage, and she was mad about the fact that she only got the small stage, and she's like, why am I performing on the big one? And Noah's like, be grateful that I booked you anything. Also, in this episode, Noah and Kaylee sing a song again. I think it's the same song that they sing at the beginning of the season, and he raps again, and I can't handle it. In episode 15, the North Star, aka the finale, Sean is now getting ready to go on a national bike tour with Dev Cameron, because that's the prize if you win the Enduro, is that you go on a national bike tour, where you can basically get publicity and also train. Dev says that he has unfinished business with the whole Sky situation, and so he's like, just go tell your friends that like whatever you have to say before we leave for a extended period of time. Meanwhile, the rest of the gang is just looking for treasure. That because they're like, oh, the Enduro mess is over. Let's just lock on this treasure thing so we can buy the lodge back. And this is very helpful because Ben ends up figuring out what the riddle and the painting mean together, because they lead to a certain place. And he says it's like an old astronomy building, and they figure out like that's where the gold would be. So they all go there and they see the symbol of like the treasure hunt and everything on this like slab on the second story of the building, like outside the window. And Sky ends up being the one to like lean out of the window and try and get it, because Alex tries at first, but she has like a really bad fear of heights, and they're like fighting about it or something, and this guy's like, I'll just go do it. And they do this by hanging her out by a harness, and it's like tied to Ben or something inside. If he falls out of that window, she dies. And Danielle seems mad about the fact that Ben is the one helping Sky just, and then it turns out to be a medallion stored inside of the slab that's on the side of the house, and so it's like actual gold. And then also in the house they find a tape of Alex's grandpa like saying that the real treasure was the friendship you made along the way, and also gold. So Alex, Danielle, and I think Josh stay behind to like watch this tape or something. And then Sky and Ben go to give the gold to Sean's dad directly to buy back the lodge. And he sees this gold and he's like, oh, I would love to sell the lodge to you because like that's a lot of money, but I already sold it. So that's kind of not possible. And she's like, oh, so my life dream is ruined. And when they're walking back from this, they actually run into Sean, and they all have a heart to heart about like how they can all be friends after the love triangle business that went on. This is also because Sky doesn't want to have any like bad blood before he leaves for a long time, and also from the fact that their relationship ended pretty mutually. Like I think they both knew it was coming. They all go to outside of Sky's camper to just like reminisce on lodge memories about the fact they won't get it back, like as a final hangout before Sean leaves. And then Noah shows up with Kaylee and reveals that he's actually going to music school as well. He got accepted, and so him and Kaylee are going back together. And then Sky's dad shows up and actually reveals that he was the one who bought the lodge. He used like all the extra money that he got working for Sean's dad and just bought it back. I guess it wasn't that expensive because I assume he was just making like minimum wage. And so they actually got it back after all. And now they just have extra gold on top of that. And then they all go out to like a playground or something and sing a song about how the sky is blue, something about looking towards blue skies, about being happy. I don't know. It's an okay song. And then Sean leaves to go on his bike tour. Him and Dove Cameron go off in their bus together. And Sky has an epiphany that she should go tell Ben how she feels, because that's how her mom and dad got together, I think. And she sees like a picture of her mom and dad, and she's like, I need to go tell him right now. And then someone tells her that he's out in the gazebo. When she goes to find him, he's actually on the gazebo with Danielle. And Danielle says that it's really hard to like be lying to their friends about them being together, and that it's really hard to see him going off with Sky when they're actually dating. So they got together off camera, basically. Can I not see one conversation of them just talking out being together? Is that too much to ask? Anyway, they kiss on the gazebo. Sky sees it and she's like, what is going on? The boy she liked is suddenly kissing someone that she thought would never get with him. I was totally gagged when I saw this scene because like I was not expecting it. Like them already being together, I was not expecting. But Sky didn't hear the whole conversation, so she just thinks that they kiss, and then she's just kind of like confused. But Ben sees her, but then doesn't have time to explain because he looks past her and sees a building is on fire. This scene is so drama. I remember seeing this when I like watched the show on Disney Channel, because this was the finale, obviously. There's no other episodes after this. And I always thought that there was like a season 3 that they didn't just show because they barely showed season 2. So I was like, oh, maybe they just didn't show it. But there was never a season 3. This is because it got canceled. I think people just didn't like season 2 as much. It had some interesting relationship dynamics, so honestly, I can see why. And also, Sean leaving at the end of the show probably didn't do well with members. Anyway, that's a crazy way to end the show. Just like the lodge is on fire. And also, they got together at the end. Literally my ship. I'm so glad. With that being said, obviously there was no season 3, but here is my predictions of what I think would happen in the show. For season 3, I think Sean and Dove Cameron would still be off because they were filming Descendants. That's why they left the show. So they would go off to Oregon and they would not be in season 3 at all. Maybe like one episode cameo or something, but nothing like substantial. I think they would ruin Ben and Danielle from the fact that Sean still likes him. That's a story and a half. With the fact that Sky still likes him, I think they would have ruined them for another love triangle, basically. And since Sky's the main character, I think she will end up with him or just try and be friends with him, and then it'll cause tension and basically cause them to break up. And that would make me sad. So honestly, I'm glad they never got season 3. And this is where my theories start to get outlandish. I think that the lodge actually isn't the building that's on fire, and so it never burnt down, and so they don't have to deal with that drama. And it's still an important building to the fact that she feels sad about it burning down. Maybe it's like just her mom's room or something, or there was like a special tree that her mom used with her old boyfriend. Maybe it's that tree or something, and so it's like still sentimental value of something that her mom had in her childhood, but it's not the whole entire lodge. Or they actually just do burn down the entire building and they just rebuild it with the gold that they have. Crazy concept. And then for season 3, I think Alex would still be there. They would just like maybe do some family-esque plot lines, because I don't think they have any other family members in that area, but maybe they find other ones. And then maybe they find another treasure map, which seems a little just recycling the same plot. At the same time, they do a mystery plot every single season, so I think they would find another map of some sort, maybe leading to another type of treasure. Knowing them, they probably introduce something like they need the gold again and it goes like missing because someone steals it or something, and they need it to rebuild the lodge, and so they have to go find it again. With these two in music school, I think that they would start off fine there, but then they would cause problems from the fact that Kaylee would get famous because everyone like loves her song and whatever, and he would be just like kind of like a nobody, and so I think that would cause problems, and he would end up going back to the lodge or something just because like he doesn't like it there. And as like a season ending thing, I feel like it would end with Sky and Ben together. Just from a fan perspective, I think probably fans would want that, and either Danielle would be completely okay with it, or she'd get royally screwed over, I think would be the second one. And then Alex would just be like working the lodge with them. I think that's how it would end. Honestly, I don't think they ever planned to get 3 seasons. I don't even know if they planned to get 2. But overall, I did really like the show because it was just very teen drama and like very unserious. And as much as the plot is very like convoluted, it's just things happen because they happen fashion. So it's fine. I have some other videos in this same series, so go check those out and subscribe for future videos. I have some fun things coming up. Check out me and my sister's joint channel where we have our podcast. We have a few episodes out there and they are very entertaining in my opinion. And thanks for watching.